Good morning. American Humanists have announced that they have created Black Humanist Alliance, LGBTQ Humanist Alliance, and Feminist Humanist Alliance. Their argument here is that they are trying to diversify their approach and have special subgroups which can focus specifically on issues affecting their identities. Feminist Human Alliance focusing on issues predominantly facing women, LGBTQ for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, and gender queer individuals, and the Black Humanist Alliance for issues facing black. They seem to have forgotten the Hispanic Humanist Alliance, the Hindu Humanist Alliance, the Immigrant Humanist Alliance, and the huge other list of identity politic catches. The only argument I know of that can support such a decision is the one levied by the National Park Service. And it goes something like this. The users of the national parks are overwhelmingly white. If you have an emotional connection with going to national parks, then if you were to end up in a position of political power or political influence, you would keep in mind your love for the national parks. And when budgets were being drawn up, you wouldn't neglect the national parks. And in fact, if proposals were put forward to expand the National Park Service or to protect more land, you would be sympathetic to those points. The introduction of the LGBTQ, feminist, and black humanist alliances are along the same lines for the defense of it, that is, where we're having increasingly fewer white individuals take positions of power. Not the least bit a bad thing, in fact. It's good to have natural diversity take place, organic diversity. But if these individuals who are not white and not humanists, because they saw no place for themselves in the humanist movement, are then faced with policy decisions which would have a good outcome for the humanist directive or a bad outcome for the humanist directive, without that political connection and that nostalgia for the Humanist Alliance, they may go against the better policies proposed by the Humanist Alliance. Now, this argument is at best lukewarm, not only because I described it so poorly, but because the idea of granular identity politics does not hold up. The personal being political is a falsity. It cannot be, because the personal being the individual should never be in the way political as a solipsistic approach, because your personal experience is going to be vastly different from everyone else's. And if you try and cater policies for you, you will neglect everybody else in the process. It's inherently narcissistic to take this approach. Conversely, you want to also support minorities. Now, I loathe Ayn Rand. I think that most of her philosophy is garbage. However, she was entirely correct when she argued that the smallest minority there is the individual. The Humanist Alliance or Association should be focused on ensuring that the smallest minority is protected, that the individual is protected. If you have policies and laws and regulations and rights based upon the individual, not an individual, but the individual, then you protect all individuals. Doesn't matter if they're LGBTQ, female, black, Hispanic, Hindu, Christian, Muslim. You could go down the entire list of well-defined now identities. The granularity of that means when you do propose policies to, say, support black humanists, you end up with policies which may neglect Hispanics or Arab or Asian, Native American. Why don't we see those humanist alliances, by the way? The ultimate goal of a humanist movement, based upon the philosophies put forward, was to avoid these kind of exercises, to not create subgroups, but to stay steady in that if you protect humanist ideals, you protect humans in general. You don't need special policy groups that are working forward because they are going to be inherently focused on their in-group politics. How are women affected in the world? How are women affected in religion? Well, a humanist will care about that, but a humanist will also care about how people of different races are affected, different gender identities or sexual orientations. But if you're a feminist, humanist, you're going to be concerned about how women are affected. Period. Full stop. That's going to be your focus. I thought it was important to bring this to people's attention to show how ludicrous this approach is. American Humanists Association is a good organization. I don't just mean that in quick review sense, 3 stars. I mean that they are morally good. This is one of the things that I've seen from them that has actually really irked me, and will probably mean that I will rescind my membership from them. I don't want to be part of an organization that wants to play the game of identity politics and work their way towards an unnecessarily granular approach to dealing with issues. We need to continue to focus on enforcing policies and laws that protect the rights of all people. And where all people aren't protected, not creating new special specific laws that focus on just that one group that's not protected, but to take our existing laws and reshape them and reinterpret them so that they are properly covering all individuals. Thank you very much for watching.